Ugh, terrible yesterday. But anyway, hello. Finally going to finish this trial. It froze there for a second. Hey. Wow, straight in. Okay. Normally they start in the lobby.
Court is back in session for the trial of Damien Temma.
Hello, Justice. Defense team leader is ready, Your Honor. Dina Sykes, citizen defender, is ready too, Your Honor. Je suis prête.
As chipper as ever, I see. And in French, no less. And the prosecution? Very well then. By the way, I asked Detective Wright to provide sturdier shackles today. There will be no more of your funny business this time, Prosecutor Backwell. Now, your opening statement, if you would. I believe it's standard procedure for the prosecution to handle it.
Looks like the judge is really bringing it today. Probably realised how Blackwell played him. That was one mean game, as Simon says. Yeah, His Honour has to fight to defend his honour today.
Your boldness.
It's plain to see that you've always dreamed of delivering an epic opening statement.
I have? I don't know if I'd say that.
Why, of course you had. I saw it in your eyes the last time you gave the opening statement. That was the look of one who yearns deeply for the thrill of an epic opening statement. For decades now, you have been watching opening statements from your bench. They were the crown jewels of the court, the one thing you could not possess.
The crown jewels of the court?
Now, at long last, they are within your grasp. How could you possibly refuse?
Oh, so you don't mind if I do it, then?
I'll make a special exception, just this once. Here we go again. Yep, more of Blackwell's mind games.
Well, in that case, I think I might go ahead and make the opening statement myself. In yesterday's session, we learned the shocking truth that the victim, Alderman Rex Cuby, was the Amazing Ninetails. We also learned that the Amazing Ninetails was a key figure in the yokai craze and anti-merger protests. It was further revealed that upon learning Rex Cuby's secret identity, Mayor Damien Temma murdered him. The fact that the crime took place in a tightly locked room was also brought to light. And the only people in that tightly locked room were the defendant and victim. The defense proposed the existence of a hypothetical third party, but further investigation revealed no proof of a third party who had escaped the room.
Ergo,
we must conclude that the evidence against the defendant is, well, conclusive. Did I say something wrong?
That was quite astonishing. You've truly outdone yourself this time.
Oh, one more thing to boast about, my grandchild.
Well, this was not an unexpected turn of events.
Now then, it seems the prosecution has called a new witness to testify.
The inexplicable yokai evidence left at the scene of the crime. Well, does that not demand some sort of explanation?
The feathers and tracks, weren't those left by the mayor while he was possessed?
That was but an act to protect his daughter.
Oh, yes, of course. I had suspected as much.
Wait, did he actually believe the mayor's award-winning performance? His daughter was the one who planted the yokai evidence. Ergo, the true identity of the yokai in the manor was the manor's maid, Jinxie Tenma.
Objection!
Prosecution is engaging in mere conjecture. Would you care for some witness testimony of that? For I am ready to prove that the little scamp is the one behind the Tenma Tarot farce. Witness testimony. I'll bet he means Filch and that creep LaBelle.
Very well then. Bailiff, would you bring in the first witness? Mr. Filch, you made quite the hasty exit yesterday. See that it doesn't happen again today.
I've been known for my hasty retreats since I was a kid. A bit of a trademark of mine.
Indeed. You managed to give a total of 5 bailiffs the slip.
Like those amateurs could ever nab me. Yoips! Perhaps we should shackle you by the neck. That would keep you in place. Yoips! No, please! I'm liable to rip my own head off if I start running. Your statement. Now. Yes, sir. Mr. Blackhead, sir.
We may be at a hasty retreat, but there's no escaping Prosecutor Blackwell.
Yeah, Blackwell doesn't strike me as the give-up-easy type.
Now then, Mr. Filch, your testimony, please. Specifically the true nature of the yokai you saw in the manor shortly after the crime.
The Temnataro's really that little maid girl. Ain't no doubt about it. I mean, the Temnataro I saw was just a little thing about her size. But the little runt had a big old staff. I see it when she came into the foyer. I bet you she stole it from the Forbidden Chamber after stumbling on the crime scene. She was going to use it to wallop me on the account of my fierce reputation. I just know it.
So, Temnataro was short in stature. And that's because it was Miss Jinxie Tenma all along.
Oh, you betcha. Besides, all the rest in the manor were way taller than her. Feigning height is but an easy thing. But a big ox like the defendant could never pass for short. What if the Temnataro impersonator was walking on their knees? Oh, weren't no knee walking. I'll see into it myself.
Then perhaps that yokai really was Miss Temna after all.
All monsters are naught but tricks, either of the mind or the cheap parlour variety.
So you're saying she created an illusion like one of those magical eye things?
Precisely. Human senses are easily deceived. Take the fellow in the cell next to me. Each night he cries and screams about some ghost he thinks he sees. But in truth, it was simply the janitor.
Prosecutor Blackwell just gave up the ghost, literally.
The janitor's deathly complexion and all white attire are, no doubt, partly to blame. That, and the fact that he constantly mutters about taking vengeance for this or that. That actually sounds like a real ghost to me.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Mr. Filch, you and Mr. LaBelle mentioned something about a practice yesterday. Do you deny this so-called lesson was about what you were supposed to say in court?
No, you got it all wrong.
And could you tell the court exactly what sort of lesson it was?
Oh, it was, what was it again? Yipes! Oh, now I remember. Math, you know, numbers and stuff.
It's completely under Black Girl's control too.
Well, anyway, that Timnataro was that little maid girl, so what's the difference?
I take it you got a good look at how tall the Timnataro impersonator was.
Oh, you betcha. I got a habit of sizing people up. I can even give you a primer on how to pull it off. All under the table, Natch. I got a knack for figuring out where people's pockets are and how much money they have. I size them real good before I relieve them of their valuables.
You just admitted to being a pickpocket right here in court.
Does the witness hold that this Timnataro entered the foyer? Damn right I do.
Well, you're not going to brush it all off by claiming the perp was short.
I must have hit a raw nerve, 'cause you ain't that tall yourself.
Look who's talking, mister. I've got to stand on a box just to testify. Anyway, Mr. Filch, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say the Timnataro you saw had a staff?
Cross my heart, hope to die. I know, 'cause it went a jingle and a jangle.
And where do you suppose that staff came from?
Stuff you see? Well,
I suppose you mean to say that Jinxie Timner entered the Forbidden Chamber to get one.
Well, I ain't never seen a staff like that in the manor. So it had to be the Forbidden Chamber.
Oh, really? The stench of LaBelle is thick in the air today. Jinxie entered the Forbidden Chamber after the incident. Then she took the staff and tried to cover up her actions by pretending to be Timnataro. I guess that's what Filch is trying to say. Could Jinxie have entered the Forbidden Chamber if she wanted to?
There is one thing I was wondering about. Why did that yokai have a staff in the first place? Well, I got my hunches about that.
What? You? And why would the so-called yokai want to do that?
Well, that old maid girl never did like me. She always hightailed it when I come around. There, she always hightails it when I come round, or she sticks these weird papers on my noggin.
She probably thinks of him as the dreaded Tanuki monster of QB Manor or something. We need to prove that Jinxie isn't Timnataro. I have no idea how we're going to do that. All we have to do is prove that it was impossible for Jinxie to turn into Timnataro. That might be easier than you think. Really? Now's our chance. Chance to expose the real Timnataro for all to see.
Objection!
It would seem that Timnataro was in fact not this innocent little girl.
Huh? Oh, how you figure that?
You claim the Temna Tower you saw had one of those staves from the Forbidden Chamber. But it would have been impossible for Miss Temna to get a hold of one.
Care to elaborate, Mr. Justice?
The mayor swallowed this key shortly after the murder. He wanted to keep the killer out of the Forbidden Chamber.
What's this?
This key was deep in the mayor's stomach when Miss Temna discovered the crime scene. So you see, it would have been impossible for her to get into the Forbidden Chamber. In short, the Temna Tower seen holding that staff could not have been Jinxie Temna.
Ah! What? But then who does the defense believe was impersonating Temna Taro?
Our Temna Tower impersonator is none other than Mayor Temna's aide.
Such accusations beg evidence. Aside from his ghastly appearance, can you prove he is the yokai we seek?
Yes, in fact, I can.
Very well. Let's see where the defense is going with this. Mr. Justice, please show us proof as to the true identity of the Temna Tower impersonator.
We found this hand cream in the Forbidden Chamber. And we know that whoever was Temna Taro took one of the staves out of there. In short, I believe whoever this hand cream belongs to is the yokai impersonator we're looking for.
But, Mr. Justice, how do you propose to identify the hand cream's owner?
I'm glad you asked, Your Honor. The defense requests a fingerprint analysis on this piece of evidence. It might tell us who it belongs to.
Interesting. So you expect to find the yokai's prints there? Very well. I hereby call a short recess while we wait for the fingerprint results.
No need for that, Your Boldness. We have the prints of everyone at the manor that day.
You called, Prosecutor Blackwell?
Could anyone be more whipped?
All right. Analyze this for prints. You have 3 minutes.
Your wish is my command!
Very well then. I guess we'll just wait right here.
It would seem the fingerprint analysis is complete.
What do the results show?
What in the world? They're Ferrant Rebel's prints, aren't they?
This is absurd.
Prosecutor Blackwell? I'm not going to like this, am I?
Don't tell me. They're Temna Taro's prints.
Fingerprint analysis has revealed that the prints belong to Phineas Filch.
Objection!
Wait, what? What? Then Mr. LaBelle wasn't the one who entered the Forbidden Chamber?
Objection!
Why, you tricksy little Tanuki. Explain yourself, now. Sure, them prints are mine. I mean, I did feel for the hand cream from Mr. LaBelle after all.
So you're the one who entered the Forbidden Chamber?
So what if I did? Got a problem with it? You fool of a Tanuki. Order! Order! Mr. Justice, care to explain what this could mean?
Excellent question. The fact that Mr. Filch was in the Forbidden Chamber... Wait a second. Does this mean that the Tower holding that staff was Phineas Filch?
Yipes! Another cat out of the bag! Mr. Filch's Tower?
I don't understand. Does this mean Mr. Filch is the real killer?
Well, the witness will explain himself this instant. Oh, begging your pardon, your honourship, but I was just doing what the alderman told me. He wanted me to be Tower in the village exorcism ritual.
Oh, you mean that event at the Nine Tails Vale Festival? So that was you inside the Tower costume?
Oh, yep. And after the event, I went and watched that pro wrestling program. But it bore me to tears on account of the wrestlers being complete jobbers.
So he didn't actually watch the entire wrestling match.
Well, that's when I looked at the Tower costume and got a great idea. Nobody can tell it's me while I'm wearing it. Because of them superstitions, no matter what I do, the villagers won't say a word. In other words, you use the superstitions to effectively render yourself invisible.
Why did you want to enter the Forbidden Chamber in the first place?
Well, because of the treasure there. I thought that was my big chance to sneak on in and nab it.
Treasure?
Only that it's the greatest get-rich-quick chance in the universe. Grandpappy told me all about it. He said there's an amazing treasure in there.
He went in there not knowing that his grandfather had already pilfered it. Guess that's one tale that didn't get passed down from grandpappy to grandson.
Wait,
How exactly did you get into the Forbidden Chamber? There was a meeting in the Fox Chamber that day. Plus, the mayor swallowed the only key that could open the Forbidden Chamber's door. You couldn't have possibly gotten in.
well, I could through the air vent in the foyer. The vent's left of the alderman's picture. I went on in and made a nice little hole. Use that to get into the air duct that leads to the Forbidden Chamber, I did.
You what? But how's that even possible? Wait a sec. Remember that air vented the Forbidden Chamber? So Mr. Filch found a way to get into that air duct. And that's how he got from the foyer vent to the Forbidden Chamber vent.
So, Tower was nothing more than a cat burglar, or rather a tanuki burglar. And we're back to being without anyone to charge for the alderman's murder.
Looks like our so-called yokai is nothing more than one big troublemaker. Tell me, Mr. Filch, what did you do after fleeing to the foyer?
Oh, I got out of that costume right quick. I would have just caused trouble at that point.
And where is that costume now?
Oh, heck if I know. And it ain't my fault if you never find it.
The police searched every nook and cranny. No yokai costume was left in that manor. What if it was tossed outside the manor? Ah!
No way!
But maybe, just maybe.
The defence seems to have hit upon an idea. Well, go on, Mr. Justice.
Okay, here's what I think. Mr. Filch, did you get rid of the costume here?
Take that!
Did you toss it out the window? Because that would certainly explain why it didn't turn up inside the manor.
Oh, you think I tossed it out the window? That costume cost me a pretty penny. So why would I go do something like that?
I can think of a few reasons. Any bright ideas, Apollo? Well, assuming the costume really was tossed out from the window, the next question would be what happened to it after that? If I'm right, I might have just the thing to prove what happened to the costume. Phineas Filch, I have just the evidence for you.
Oh, you do?
This evidence proves you got rid of your Temnotaro costume through the window.
Take that!
Oh, that's... Temnotaro flying through the sky. Just how does that prove Mr. Filch threw his costume out the window?
It's quite simple. That's not Temnotaro in the photo. It's the costume Mr. Filch threw out.
Oh, that's crazy talk. You ain't serious, are you?
There's a steep cliff right outside the foyer window, meaning the manor is pretty high up. The costume flew through the air after it was tossed out. That's when the photo was taken. In other words, the photo of Temnotaro really was a flight of fancy.
What? Yoinks! Oh my, so there really never was a yokai. Oh, I can't keep any of them cats bagged, and I still file a claim for the lost costume.
This more than proves the defence's position. Jinxie Tenma had nothing to do with staging the yokai sighting.
Care to raise any objections, Prosecutor Blackwell?
None whatsoever. I'll deal with that Trixie Tanuki after I've dealt with this case. We did it.
Good going. Now all we have to do is make Florent LaBelle take the sand.
Objection!
Sheathing the sword a bit early, are we not? Huh? Nothing has been proven beyond a doubt. Take this tricksy little Tanuki, for instance. How do you suppose he was able to exit the Forbidden Chamber? Probably the same way he got in, through the chamber's air vent. And what are the feathers and tracks at the scene of the crime? They would suggest that the Tanuki exited through the chamber door and not the air vent.
Objection!
But the Forbidden Chamber doesn't open from the inside. So what you're saying makes no sense. Right? Someone on the outside opened the door for you. Isn't that right?
Oh yep, that's right, Mr. Blackjack. The door suddenly sprung right open.
Hold it!
Sprung right open? Who was on the other side?
I didn't get a good look on account of the sudden glare. Like how the reflection from my head blinds fellow moviegoers emerging from the dark. Well, that's when I snatched that staff and made my daring escape. And then that little maid girl spotted me as I hightailed it down the hall.
That means the Forbidden Chamber wasn't opened until after the crime was discovered.
But wait. We still don't know who opened it. Maybe there really was a third person in the Fox Chamber.
Objection!
Well, you little Tanuki. When the Forbidden Chamber opened, did you see the accused passed out there?
Oh, nope. Only one there was the alderman, and he was dead as a doornail.
If the accused wasn't there, what do you suppose he was up to? Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going.
Oh, don't tell me.
Plainly, the only one who could have opened the Forbidden Chamber was the accused, Damien Tenma.
Wait a second. There had to be somebody else besides Mayor Temner there.
Really? And who might that be?
Oh well, that would be...
Objection.
It seems our feisty little lass has forgotten the most important thing. Evidence.
I didn't forget. I was just casting your attention to details.
Miss Sykes, you can't prove your point without proof of some sort. It's a proven fact.
Sorry. Guess I put my foot in my mouth again.
No, Athena, we're definitely onto something here.
Yeah?
Think about it. If Filch was stuck inside the Forbidden Chamber, one of the alibis we heard would no longer hold any water. The defense would like to call a new witness to the stand. Someone who knew Mr. Filch was stuck in the Forbidden Chamber. And by virtue of knowing this, has an alibi that no longer adds up. Not that insufferable.
Very well. The court will hear what Mr. Justice has to say. Whose alibi no longer adds up?
Take that!
Why, that's the defendant's aide, Laurent LaBelle. Didn't he claim to be in the foyer at the time of the crime?
True, but in his alibi he also claimed Mr. Filch was in the foyer too. However, as we all know now, Mr. Filch was not there with Mr. LaBelle at the time. In short, Mr. LaBelle's alibi has disappeared.
Ugh.
Laurent LaBelle's alibi was one big lie. Isn't that right, Mr. Filch?
Oh, I reckon there ain't no keeping that cat in the bag here neither. It was all Mr. LaBelle's idea. He told me he'd button his lip about me breaking into the Forbidden Chamber. And in return he said we'd vouch for each other's alibi. Shame on you, Mr. Filch. Murder is a serious crime, you know. Oh, shucks. But mercy, your honourship, mercy! Ah!
I also assert that the person who opened the Forbidden Chamber for Mr. Filch was none other than Laurent LaBelle. After all, his alibi has just been proven to be a complete fabrication.
I see. We will take a 20-minute recess. After which time we will see what Mr. LaBelle has to say for himself.
Yes. Finally going to drag that slippery snake onto the stand.
In the meantime, the prosecution will question Mr. LaBelle about these new allegations.
We did it, Apollo. We finally dragged Mr. LaBelle into court.
Yeah,
Hey, why the long face?
can't help but feel I'm missing something important. Plus, Prosecutor Blackwell's bound to mount a counterattack.
You really are a wild worrywart, aren't you? It'll be fine. That mystery figure who opened the Forbidden Chamber for Mr. Filch. Had to have been Laurent LaBelle.
I know, but that's not what's bugging me. Wish I could put my finger on it though.
At any rate, the big showdown with Mr. LaBelle is up next, so chin up, Apollo.
Mm-hmm. Let's take care of that.
Court is back in session. Our next witness is...
Yes, I'm acting on behalf of the mayor in this very important matter.
It seems the witness is indisposed at the moment.
Surely you jest.
I will hold you to your promise. Remember that.
Oh, my deepest apologies. This is Florent Labelle, personal aide to Mayor Timner, or should I say, the accused. Ouch, like the poor man hasn't suffered enough. Well, what business do you have with me? I'm a very busy man, so let's make this as brief as possible. Your boldness.
Right. Mr. Filch's testimony has revealed a hole in your alibi. And for this reason, you are suspected of having some sort of a connection with the case at hand.
To think I'd just be associated with this entire lurid affair. Entirely. Well, I'm not. So may I go now? I have very important matters to attend to.
Objection!
I don't think so, Mr. Labelle. Do you realise what a serious crime you've committed?
Witness, you are being accused of perjury. This is your chance to clear the air.
Fine. The truth is I faked my alibi for a very good reason. The man was obviously the killer, so I created a fake alibi to confuse the matter. You see, as his personal aide, I felt I had to protect him. Sorry. You think this is funny? Without your alibi, you're a suspect too. What were you really doing at the time of the crime? Peasant. How dare you accuse me, one of the beautiful... Stop stalling and tell the court what you were really doing at the time of the crime.
Silence!
Enough jabbering. Swords have been drawn. The time for talk is past. Swords? What swords? This is a duel to the death. The fate of the accused rests on our hands. Begone, ye of cowardly heart. The battlefield hath no place for ye. Again? Oh my.
Spare me, please.
So much for sturdier shackles. Those chains hindered my vow that heads would roll this day. This gives keeping your head in court a whole new meaning. Will the witness please deliver the accused death knell? You know of what I speak. Most certainly. His goose is already cooked. Time to stick a fork in him. Whatever he has to say can't be good. As I told Prosecutor Blackwell during the recess, I rushed right over to the Fox Chamber when I heard little Jinxie scream. What? Then, drumroll please, I saw Mayor Temner opening the forbidden chamber doors. But there you have it. The mystery man who opened the chamber door, as witnessed by one Phineas Filch. It was the accused. There was never any third party. Oh, and that's not all. I heard something quite startling there at the scene of the crime. Startling sounds bad. The mayor, who was barely conscious, muttered this. Forgive me, Jinxie. I killed the alderman. That's right. The mayor actually confessed to the murder right there and then. Then and there. Blech.
He confessed? Order in the court. This is quite conclusive testimony if it stands.
Just so, and quite astonishing, I might add. I only learned of this fact during the recess. I just love surprises, don't you? That's why I saved the best for last. Consider it a gift from me to you.
No way. I don't believe Mr. LaBelle heard the mayor confess.
But is this really true? Did Mayor Temner really confess?
It is indeed. During the last recess, I confirmed it with the mayor's daughter. It would seem Mayor Temner actually did confess.
That testimony is quite favorable to the prosecutions.
Mrs. LaBelle, yes, I called earlier about the party reservations. That's right, and I'll be calling my little shindig Mayor Temner's Conviction Gala. A splendid time is guaranteed for all but the mayor in his defense.
Well, as it seems our witness is a very busy man, let's get right to his testimony. Mr. LaBelle, please tell us what you saw when you came upon the scene of the crime.
I was in the hallway hiding in the shadows. That's when I heard the confession. Upon learning of her father's crime, little Jinxie fled without ever noticing me. Immediately after that, the mayor came to, stood up, and opened the forbidden chamber. As I ran in terror, the demon emerged from his prison. In shock, I fled down the hallway to my right, to the one with the phone at the end.
I must say, this is a shocking revelation. Quite unexpected. To think the defendant actually confessed there and then and there to his crime.
Perhaps the guilt was too much to bear, so he confided in his daughter.
You do realize you should not have withheld such crucial testimony from the court.
Once again, sorry. It's just, I feared being accused if I mentioned coming upon that most unpleasant scene. Why did the mayor's confession have to be brought up by this guy?
You better do something before the judge declares the mayor guilty.
As a death row inmate once told me in years gone by, there is a time to fight and a time to yield, a time to live and a time to die. Ugh, laying it on real thick now.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Yeah, conflicts with Jinxie's statement though.
Hold it!
You claim that the mayor confessed to his daughter. Are you sure about that? Peasant, you wouldn't dare ask such a question if you truly understood. True beauty is never wrong. It's not? No, beauty is carved deep in the DNA. That means I'm programmed to always be right, even when I'm wrong. I'm not following. These exquisite ears like flowers abloom, these eyes that shine like pearls. This hair like the finest silk. Nothing can corrupt the truth they hold. Right.
The witness will hurry up and explain this truth of his. Specifically, what did Jinxie Temna do upon hearing the confession?
Hold it!
How did Miss Temner appear to you?
Oh, the poor little thing seemed positively heartbroken, all teary-eyed and whatnot. I couldn't help but shed a few tears myself after seeing her like that.
You actually sympathize with Jinxie. Seems like an overly human emotion for him.
Yeah, because he's the only real monster we've seen so far, in looks and in character.
The next thing I did was check my face in the mirror.
Checked your face? Why?
To behold the beauty that is my sadness. Why else?
Apollo, I'm starting to lose all faith in humanity.
I know the feeling, but hang in there. At least keep faith in our client.
Let's keep this moving, shall we? So, what happened next?
Hold it!
He opened the forbidden chamber? But why would he do that?
Who knows? Maybe he wanted to free the demon Tanmataro.
Objection!
Courtroom is no place for fairy tales. Remember, you are under oath.
Hello, LaBelle speaking. Yes, I will certainly explore the matter. Toodles. Now, where were we again?
You were going to tell us the real reason why the mayor opened the forbidden chamber.
Oh yes, of course. Hello, Mrs. LaBelle. Good one, sir. You are an absolute riot. Okay, bye. You were saying?
Never mind. This is a waste of time. He's just going to tell more lies.
The witness will focus on his testimony, not his phone calls. Now, tell the court what you did after you saw the mayor opening the forbidden chamber. Well, after that...
Hold it!
What was Mr. Filch like at the time?
He was shouting, I can't see, I can't see, it's the curse of Temnataro. Then he took off running like a madman.
Must have been blinded by the sudden light flooding in.
Wrong.
What?
He set eyes upon me, and was thus blinded by my radiant beauty.
So it was the curse of Laurent LaBelle rather than Temnataro.
Yes, I'm afraid such beauty can be a curse. It's almost criminal.
The only thing criminal here is your ceaseless jabbering. Now get on with your testimony.
Oh, forgive me your darkness. Let's see. Oh yes, I fled for dear life from Temnataro and...
Hold it!
So, after you fled into the hallway with the phone at the end, Temnataro ran off toward the foyer.
Precisely.
Notice any inconsistencies, Apollo?
Well, Jinxie also saw Temnataro, right?
She did. She said they passed each other in the hall after she made that call to the police.
Well, if LaBelle had fled down the hall where that phone is, Jinxie would have seen him when she was returning from making her call.
Oh, right. And if she saw him, she would definitely ask him for help.
Right, just doesn't make any sense. Time to review the evidence.
If we don't find some way to poke a hole in his testimony, Mayor Timner is as good as guilty.
This is bad. Very bad.
We need to find any inconsistencies, a mistake, some kind of conflict.
It's not over if we can't find a flaw in the prosecution's case.
Objection!
Florentna Bell, you're lying about having witnessed these events from the hallway. What on earth do you mean?
Yes, care to fill the rest of us in on this? No. Yes. Care to fill the rest of us in, Mr. Justice?
If Mr. LaBelle had really fled down the hall with the phone in it, he would have crossed paths with Miss Temner.
What's this?
After she discovered the crime scene, she immediately went to call the police. Then, after making her call, she went back to the main hallway. Whereupon she encountered the demon yokai, or whatever you want to call it. As for me, I call it Phineas Filch in a Tenma Tower costume. The encounter happened right here, where the hallways meet. As for Mr. LaBelle, if he had fled here, feigning escape from the yokai imposter,
Why, yes, the two would have crossed paths.
right, except Miss Temner told us that there was no one else in the hall. In short, Miss Temner did not see you in the hall because you were never really there.
Ugh, my eyes! My beautiful eyes!
Not such a fabulous scent now, is it?
But, Mr. Justice, the witness also stated that he heard the mayor confess. If he was lying about hearing the confession from the hall, then where was he when he heard it?
Inside the Fox Chamber. Where else?
But isn't that within the very crime scene?
It is, Your Honour. And that means he's not really a witness. Rather, he's a third party I've been alleging this whole time.
What? You think I'm the killer? How dare you?
Silence!
Foolish fop. A true man knows when he is beaten. A shield of lies comes to naught before a foe with the sword of truth bared.
Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you? I thought we were on the same side.
You are mistaken. There are no sides here, save for my cold, steely edge of judgment. You are alone upon this battlefield, with naught but your lies and sickly sweet perfume. What just happened? Blackwell's really tearing into him. You heard the mayor's confession from the inside, did you not, you deviant dandy? For the sole location from which you could have seen and heard the mayor and the Tanuki, without either of them noticing you, was right there in the Fox Chamber.
Oh my. So that's how it's going to be? Fine, I'll come clean then.
Seriously? You admit to being there in the Fox Chamber?
I do. I did enter the room after the murder. But I was afraid of being falsely accused, so I lied about it. I feel terrible about lying like that, but it's a verbal cologne I use to protect myself.
You better explain yourself, Mr. LaBelle.
Yes, of course. I was just about to get to that. The witness is skating on thin ice. I'll remind you that perjury is a very serious crime. Now, let's hear your testimony again, this time without your perfume of lies.
I did enter the Fox chamber after the murder, but I didn't enter until after Jinxie had heard the confession and left. I heard the mare groan and hid behind the folding screen there. What I saw there up close, it was absolutely horrifying. So you see, I was there, but merely watching from behind the screen.
From behind the screen? Why yes, I believe you wouldn't be spotted if you were there.
Just so, he could see everything without being spotted by the victim, or that Tanuki Filch. Suffice to say, he was mere witness to the events rather than actual third party. This guy's as slippery as an eel. Apollo, you think he's telling the truth? Well, he was in the Fox chamber, so at least that much must be true.
The defense may cross-examine our slightly voyeuristic witness.
Hold it!
Why in the world would you enter that grisly crime scene?
Why? Because I was worried sick. Mayor Temner's suit, it
what?
It was designed personally by me. I was worried my work of art might get blood on it.
This man clearly has his priorities in order.
Okay, let's get this over with, shall we? Now, where was I? Oh yes, so I entered the Fox chamber almost without thinking.
Hold it!
Why didn't you enter right away?
And ruin my designer shoes?
Your shoes?
Even now, just thinking about getting blood on my fabulous footwear, it sends chills down my spine. That's why I hesitated.
Objection!
That's terrible. A man was dying and another injured and you worried about your shoes?
Silence!
Need I remind you, this is a court of law. We are not teaching morality here. We have schools of etiquette and such for trivial pursuits. Now, you listen to me, you deceptive dandy. Get to the point and be quick about it.
Yes, well, I was there in the Fox chamber, but...
Hold it!
Wait a second. Why did you hide yourself?
Oh my, so you do understand?
I do?
By hiding, I was concealing my fabulous beauty, which, for the sake of the universe, is something I should never, ever do. That's what you were thinking, right?
I'm sensing a black hole of egocentricity forming around the witness stand. We can deliberate his mental processes another time. Get on with the testimony, now.
Well, regarding the murder scene...
Hold it!
Could you describe the crime scene in a bit more detail?
And what exactly would you like details about?
Well, what I'd like to ask you about is... Could you describe the state of the weapons that had been used at the scene?
The spear had been thrust all the way through Alderman Cuby. Then there was that statue the Alderman used to bludgeon Mayor Temner. That incredibly inspirational symbol had fallen to the floor.
Alright, the statue. Why would you find it inspiring? Why exactly did you find the statue inspiring?
Well, when I saw that statue, I felt as if the merger had been realized. It was like a celebration of union between town and village, an inspiring symbol of goodwill.
Broken statue next to a bloody corpse? Real inspiring.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you consider this statement to be of any importance?
Is it important? Yep. I believe that to be extremely important. I request that it be added to the testimony.
The statue had fallen to the floor. It was a token of goodwill celebrating the municipal merger.
Hold it!
Token of goodwill. Are you referring to the Fox and Demon statue?
Yes, the statue the Alderman allegedly used to strike back at Mayor Temner.
Blech.
The mayor trampled down municipal goodwill only to be clobbered by its symbol. It's quite ironic, don't you think?
That's when that symbol of goodwill was transformed into a symbol of conflict.
Hold it!
The mayor had been knocked out by a blow to the head. Could he really have opened the Forbidden Chamber in that state?
Well, it did seem difficult. He was all woozy and stumbling around as he opened it. It was such a heroic effort that I nearly started to cheer him on despite myself.
I think the man needed medical attention more than a cheerleader. You think he's telling the truth about being there in that room? I believe he was there. Question is, when did he enter? You mean, did he enter after Jinxie fled? Or was he there before the murder? If it's the latter, that would change everything. Right, if he was there before the murder, that would make him a suspect. But how do we go about proving that? Well, I guess we ask him about what happened there. Anyway, let's press him and see what kind of info we can extract from him. Let's cross our fingers that he says or reveals something incriminating.
Objection!
Your lies have finally betrayed you, Mr. LaBelle.
What possibly could you mean?
You said this statue was like a celebration of union between town and village. Isn't that correct?
It is indeed, but what of it? The two yokai are joining hands in goodwill. As if they were celebrating the municipal merger. Something the matter?
So, how did you really know that this statue was meant to be a symbol of goodwill again?
What?
Justice Dono, explain yourself and make it quick. This statue was meant to symbolize goodwill in its original form, but that was a secret.
A secret? Whatever do you mean?
What I mean is that it broke when someone used it to strike Mayor Temner on the head. What's left clearly make it look like the two yokai are battling it out. The statue's secret and its true form were lost inside that locked room. Well, Miss Temner is the only living soul who should know what it once looked like. So, Mr. LaBelle, where could you have possibly seen the statue in its original form?
What do you mean, where?
The only possible answer is this. You saw the statue in its original form. Right there in the room where the alderman was murdered before it was broken.
How dare you? Mr. Justice, are you accusing the witness with some sort of crime?
Yes. Yes, I am. Laurent LaBelle, I accuse you of the murder of Alderman Rex Cuby.
Ah! Order! Mr. LaBelle, you've been accused of murder. Do you have anything to say in your defense? How could you possibly accuse me, the embodiment of beauty?
Way to go, Polly. This is the conclusive evidence we needed. Magnifico.
We've got you now. We know you killed the alderman, now admit it.
Silence.
Enough of your silly games, Justice Dono. This prancing peacock could not possibly be the killer.
Objection!
What are you talking about? His alibi was already crumbled to dust. And I just proved that he was in the fox chamber while it was still locked tight.
Silence.
Why could he have not seen the statue in its true form before the murder? After all, he was close friends with the alderman. Ergo.
Yes, that's right. I clearly remember it. Now, Alderman Cuby told me about it. About what the statue actually looked like. I mean, he was a good friend of mine.
Hello, a person.
Yeah, right. He wouldn't show you a secret gift just like that.
Silence.
Moreover, it has already been proven that he was not present at the scene of the crime.
It has?
Forgotten, have we? Recall the little scamp's statement, if you will. When Jinxie Temmer unlocked the fox chamber, she saw the alderman and the mayor collapse therein, and no one else.
Oh, dang it.
The fact is, it was you two who made that apparent in yesterday's court session. Thus, Laurent LaBelle could not possibly have been in that locked room.
No! Ah!
This game uses way too much autotext. I just don't get it. How could Jinxie not have seen LaBelle? The proof is incontrovertible. No room for debate exists. Am I not right, your baldness?
It does seem awfully conclusive. The facts point to the defendant and the victim being the only people in that locked room. Moreover, the defendant has already confessed.
Objection! Silence.
You cannot defend the indefensible. Your role in this charade is over, Justice Dono.
But
Your boldness. This trial would last an eternity if we were to keep crossing blades with these simpletons. It is high time you brought down the hammer of justice.
a point well made. I believe it's time to declare a verdict. This court finds the defendant Damien Tenma Caw, caw, caw. It would seem that my time is at hand. Blech. Blech.
That's not the voice I used for him.
It would seem that my time is at hand.
Metemna?
Counselor, there is a matter to which I must testify. I recall it now only for your good graces.
Counselor? Oh right, he must mean me. Has he finally remembered what happened before that blow to his head?
Bailiff, don't just stand there. Seize him.
It's no good. I can't restrain him.
Caw, 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 caw. Know me in despair. For I am Temnotaro, Demon Lord of the Yokai. Mr. Justice, do something.
Since when I'm responsible for court security. Apollo, it's that chance. You might get some new information out of him. Your Honour, seeing as our client has something new to say, I believe due process demands that we hear him out, even if he is a yokai.
When you put it that way. Still, I believe testimony by a yokai is unprecedented in the legal world.
Unprecedented is absurdity, more like. Keep misreading. Bad me.
All right then, Mr. Dengentemba, or should I say Mr. Temnotaro. Your testimony, please.
I shall... Blech. I shall... God, I just can't say I like that, can I?
I shall now speak of recollections most real, courtesy of my host, Damien Tenma. Heed these words, mortals, for hear them but once you shall. Caw, 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 caw. Barely conscious was Damien there amid the darkness. Suddenly, two yokai did appear. On one side, I, Temnotaro, ruler of demonkind, and on the other my mortal enemy, the nine-tailed fox. So, is the defendant asserting that the room he was in was very dark at the time? Strange as it may be, yes, indeed all was in darkness.
What about Temnotaro and the nine-tailed fox being there?
Yes, that too. Temnotaro towered overhead, and the nine-tailed fox glittered gold.
I call that only your boost, Your Honour.
It would seem the defendant's recollections are not to be trusted. Yes, well, truth be told, my host's recollections are still a bit fuzzy. As if half-dreamt, that happening lingers in his mind.
Oh, maybe I can help here. Really? Oh, you mean... Yeah, I can hear it. The discord in his heart. I sense an unusual emotion in the mayor's memory of the event. Okay, I just hope our findings don't come back to haunt us again. when the nine-tailed fox appeared, you not only experienced shock and sadness, but also something like joy as well?
Joy. Perhaps it was joy at the light coming to my eyes at long last. A long and terrible creaking did pierce the silence. And then there was light. On reflection, it was a door that did produce that infernal racket. A creaking door.
Oh, you must be talking about the Forbidden Chamber door. It does make a lot of noise. So, this means the Forbidden Chamber really was opened? But what about the sudden light you described? I think I know. You mentioned darkness and Temnotaro towering overhead. Maybe the mayor wasn't really in the Fox Chamber at the time of the crime. Mr. Mayor, did the darkness that you were in happen to be here?
Take that!
The Forbidden Chamber. Was it not the Fox Chamber where the murder did occur?
Yes, but it all makes sense if you were in the Forbidden Chamber. That terrible creaking sound was probably the Forbidden Chamber doors opening. And the towering Temnotaro you saw, most likely the Forbidden Chamber statue.
Why, yes. That would explain it. The darkness and the staff in the demon's grasp.
But even if all that's true, then what about the nine-tailed fox?
Maybe he was seeing things? Just like Jinxie and our imaginary yokai.
Fantastico, Apollo. It's entirely possible. In a groggy, dreamlike state, people can misremember things and events.
Misremember, you say? Let me think. I do believe. I remember now. That was not the nine-tailed fox. It was the amazing Nine-Tails.
What? The amazing Nine-Tails?
At first, this is but a dream, I thought. Now, however, most clearly do I recall it. It was the amazing Nine-Tails who did open the Forbidden Chamber's door.
I'm sorry I asked.
The amazing Nine-Tails. But that was the victim Alderman Kyubi, right?
Yeah. Why would he open the Forbidden Chamber? Wasn't he trying to keep it sealed?
Never mind that. This is completely new information. Let me enter it and run an update.
Barely conscious was Damien there in the Forbidden Chamber.
Got it!
When the amazing Nine-Tails opened the chamber, banishing the darkness within, you felt joy, but didn't you also feel shock and sadness?
Yes. In the hazy depths of my mind, I do recollect something of that nature. I believe it was the fiend's cape of red. But when I did behold it, a great wave of sadness did inexplicably wash over me.
A cape of red?
Apollo, we reduced the noise level. Oh, but there's still a little left.
Mayor Temna, why were you sad when you saw the red cape?
Why indeed?
What could this mean?
Guess his memory is still a little spotty. I know, because his art recollection contradicts the evidence.
Yeah, it's one of those contradictions that slaps you right across the face.
Something this obvious could arise. And someone is trying to force a fuzzy memory into a different state. Definitive state.
There.
Apollo, I know what you have to do. You need to present evidence that contradicts the image you see.
Oh, so it's basically the same as the usual cross-examination process. Okay, time to review the evidence. Look out, contradiction. Here comes justice.
Objection!
You said the Amazing Ninetales cape was red. Are you sure about that?
Yes. Well, I do believe it was a red cape I saw, but...
Mayor Temna, does this cape look red to you?
It certainly does not look red, not even scarlet or crimson either. Nevertheless, upon my liberation, something red did fill me as yet hazy field of view. And I thought to myself, the Amazing Ninetales is arrayed in a cape of red.
So you mistook that red something for his cape, huh?
Apparently so, and remembering it now brings a great sadness upon me.
So the red something probably wasn't a cape after all. Maybe that great sadness you mentioned is what's interfering with his memory.
Well, he would have seen the fox chamber behind the Amazing Ninetales. What red object could he have seen there that would have been that shocking? I know. Could it have been... Mr. Mayor, was the red thing you saw this?
Take that!
Something red that could produce a deep sadness. Could it be, Mr. Temner, that what you saw was the alderman's blood?
Blood? Why, yes. It was blood.
There, can't do screams at all.
It's all coming back to me now. It wasn't a red cape that I saw. It was lying behind the Amazing Ninetales, the alderman's bloody body.
His noise level is down to 0. I think he's remembered everything now.
Does this mean the Amazing Ninetales killed Alderman Kyubi?
But the alderman was the Amazing Ninetales, so how exactly would that work?
Hey, I asked you first.
Well, Mr. Justice, you sure know how to make a complicated matter even more complicated.
True, but at the time of the crime our client was in the Forbidden Chamber. Moreover...
Silence!
Oh. Don't you think this strange? The little scamp has already confirmed her father to be in the fox chamber. But she said not about seeing the Amazing Ninetales there.
You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
Jinxie didn't see the bell there either. So weird. Who really was in that room then?
Would the defense care to share any theories with the court? Can you explain the inconsistency between the defendant's testimony and his daughter's?
Yes, I can. Yes, of course I can explain it. Because if I don't, we're in serious trouble. Hello, Pika.
Not with more of your bluffs and fairy tales, I trust. Fair warning, Justice Donner. I shall have your head if you fail to explain this.
What about a good old-fashioned penalty?
Well, Mr. Justice, let's see if you have a head worth keeping on your shoulders.
First of all, Mr. LaBelle was definitely in the Fox Chamber while it was locked. We also know that Mayor Temna was in the Forbidden Chamber based on his testimony. These two facts are crucial to my explanation. So let us consider the following question. If the facts point to Laurent LaBelle and the victim being there at the scene, why did Jinxie Temna see her father, Mayor Temna, and the victim?
A very good question indeed. And I suppose you have an answer for us?
Sadly, you would be supposing wrong.
You think she could have mistaken the bell for the mayor?
Well, if she did, then the question is, why did she do that?
Well, how about that explanation, Mr. Justice? I believe the time for questions is over. The defense asserts that Florent LaBelle was at the scene of the crime. However, Jinxie Temna has testified that she saw her father collapse there. If she has, in fact, misremembered the event, what could have made her do so?
LaBelle was disguised as Temna. The figure Miss Temna saw was not her father. It was Florent LaBelle disguised as Damien Temna.
Silence.
That is a complete impossibility. Their faces are utterly unalike. How could you explain that away with a mere disguise?
Yes, they both do have incredibly distinctive faces.
Maybe the disguise completely hid his face?
I think Jinxie would have mentioned if she couldn't see her father's face.
And if it was that sort of disguise, wouldn't she have removed it?
Oh, right.
Your sword is as dull as your mind, Justice Dono. Shall I show you what a truly sharp blade is capable of?
I think I'll act. Ah!
Are you okay, Apollo?
I'm not fine, am I?
Well, now that we have that little fairy tale out of the way, your boldness, your verdict, if you will.
Mr. Justice, I believe it's time for a verdict, if you have no further arguments.
What's even left for me to do?
Apollo, remember what Mr. Wright always says. When you're stuck in a tight spot, turn the case upside down.
Turn the case upside down. Does say that, doesn't he? I don't quite see how it applies here. Still, never hurts to give it a try, I guess. Let's see. Other than Jinxie didn't remove the disguise, maybe she couldn't remove it? Rather than she didn't tell anyone about the disguise, maybe it was she couldn't talk about it.
The wrestler's mask is more precious than his own life. He'd never unmask himself in front of others. But there are matches where wrestlers battle for the right to remove each other's masks. To have your mask torn off is the worst humiliation a wrestler could suffer. That's why their masks are more important to them than life itself.
What about the fact that it was the amazing Ninetales who opened the door? Masks that can't be removed in front of others. Can these facts turn things around?
Ah! We got it all backwards.
Hello?
I think we might have made a huge mistake.
Your boldness. I see no need to further indulge them in their silly little farce. The defense has no proof. They never did, and they never will.
Then it seems I must announce my verdict.
Objection!
I do have proof.
Do you now?
All right, but this better be good, Mr. Justice.
We can solve the remaining riddles by turning all of our assumptions upside down. Why Gypsy Tanner mistook Mr. LaBelle for her father? Why she couldn't remove the costume or tell anyone about it in the first place? These riddles are inextricably linked to Mayor Temner's secret identity. Shocking secret identity that will turn the entire premise of this case upside down. This piece of evidence clearly reveals Mayor Temner's secret identity.
Take that!
What absolute claptrap. Poppycock. Balderdash.
We thought the Alderman was the amazing Ninetales, and the Mayor was Temnotaro. That's why we believe the Mayor killed the Alderman in his lust for Ninetales Vale. And it was the basis for the prosecution's entire case against our client. However, we got the whole thing backwards. Mayor Temner wasn't Temnotaro at all. He was the amazing Ninetales.
What's this?
You best explain yourself, Justice Dono. And from where you derive such a far-fetched conclusion.
Jinxie no doubt knew the true identity of the amazing Ninetales, but she couldn't tell anyone no matter what. That's why she didn't say it was the amazing Ninetales she saw passed out. Even though, unbeknownst to her, it was really Florent LaBelle in disguise.
Silence!
The accused and the deceitful dandy are utter dissimilar in physical build and voice. The little scamp would have seen the difference.
Objection!
Remember Mr. LaBelle has his very own brand of cosmetics? Why couldn't he fake a different build too? And anyone speaking through a mask would naturally sound different.
Silence!
Why did she not simply pull the mask off?
Objection!
A masked wrestler's disguise is more precious than life itself. As a huge fan of the amazing Ninetales, she would never dare unmask him.
Ugh.
In this case, a mistaken identity also explains the riddle of the locked room.
Then by all means, Mr. Justice, answer it for us already.
First, Mr. LaBelle entered the room where the Mayor and the Alderman were talking. I suspect he brought with him coffee laced with some sort of sedative. Once the Alderman was out cold, that's when Mr. LaBelle killed him. Next, he took the Mayor, who he had also drugged, into the Forbidden Chamber. Then he returned to the Fox Chamber, slipped into some of the Mayor's spare clothes, and completed the disguise by donning the amazing Ninetales mask. With his entire charade in place, Mr. LaBelle then let out a scream. The scream that led Jinxie Temna to the scene.
So then,
The person who said I killed Alderman...
the person who said I killed Alderman QB was...
Yep, that was Florent LaBelle in disguise. The mayor never actually confessed.
Silence.
And this is no more than guesswork and speculation. Now stop your jabbering and...
Objection!
No. No, you twisted samurai. This time you stop your jabbering and let me finish making my case. Once Miss Temna left the scene, Mr. LaBelle, still wearing the mayor's clothes and mask, opened the forbidden chamber, so he could drag the mayor back out into the fox chamber.
Oh, so the amazing Ninetales the mayor saw was...
Right, it was LaBelle opening the forbidden chamber. The second time Mr. LaBelle opened the door to the forbidden chamber, he happened to catch the thieving Mr. Filch by surprise. Startled, Mr. Filch, in his Temnatara disguise, ran as fast as he could away from the room. As he did, he left behind him a trail of feathers and tracks, and gave Miss Temna the scare of her life in the hallway. With no one left to witness the events that had occurred, Mr. LaBelle then proceeded to drag the sleeping mayor back into the fox chamber.
I see. Well, that all certainly does make sense.
Then, after dragging the mayor back into the fox chamber, Mr. LaBelle threw the mask out of the window and fled the room.
Silence.
For this absurd theory to work, it requires that the defendant be the amazing Ninetales. However, he was the one pushing for the municipal merger. That such an individual could possibly be the amazing Ninetales is preposterous.
Objection!
The mayor was blackmailed into pursuing the merger. Miss Temna's knife would have been in danger if he had openly voiced his opposition. That's why he created a secret identity as the amazing Ninetales.
This is madness. No one could possibly hatch such an insane plot.
No one except a killer as insane as his plot, and I'd say Florent LaBelle more than qualifies.
Foolish mortal. It is at your own peril that you forget who I am.
Mayor Temna, it's okay now. Jinxie will be safe just as soon as Mr. LaBelle is arrested. You are the amazing Ninetales, aren't you?
I...
You have quite the active imagination. Mayor Temna is not the amazing Ninetales.
Objection!
What do you mean?
Well, has the mayor admitted to it yet?
But that's just...
And even if he did admit to such nonsense, I would reveal the truth behind Temnatara right here and now.
What?
Why, you would dare reveal the secret.
My good friend, the alderman told me all about it. But it wouldn't be good to expose the truth. What with the superstitions now, would it?
Truth behind Temnataro? What's he talking about?
So go ahead, say it. Say I am the amazing Ninetales. I dare you.
Objection!
Wait. Will somebody please explain what's going on here?
Mayor Temna will do
anything to keep the truth behind Temnoterra a secret. A dark, terrible truth that has been kept secret by the village superstitions.
And if their mayor admits to being the amazing Ninetales, you'll expose the truth?
Right, I won't have him walking free because of some nonsense you made up. So what now, Justice Donner? Without the mayor's admission, your theory is as useless as you are in battle.
I'll show you who's useless.
Oh, don't you dare give up now.
I know. Your Honour, I believe Mr. LaBelle's statements warrants a thorough cross-examination. After all, the true identity of the amazing Ninetales is the cornerstone of this case.
You do have a point there. Please answer this court, Mr. LaBelle. Is the defendant the amazing Ninetales or not?
The amazing Ninetales' true identity is not Mayor Temna. The mayor would never admit to such utter nonsense. But if he did admit to such nonsense, I will expose the truth behind Temnoterra right here and now. And that would bring ruin upon Ninetales, just as the superstitions say.
Talk about out of the pot and into the fire. At this rate, the mayor will be found guilty for sure.
Honestly speaking, if Mayor Damien Temner is not the amazing Ninetales, I'm afraid I don't see how the defense is much of a case here.
And let's just leave it at that, shall we? We all know Alderman Cuby was the amazing Ninetales anyway. I mean, that's how Ninetales made a comeback. The Alderman was so popular.
There's got to be a hole in that testimony somewhere. I don't even know where to start.
Since we don't have any proof that the mayor is the amazing Ninetales, then we'll just have to get him to admit it himself.
And if he admits it, LaBelle's going to expose the secret behind Temnoterra. We're so close. I know it.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Hold it!
This whole case only makes sense if the mayor is the amazing Ninetales. I know you used his mask to create this illusion of a locked room murder.
Silence!
Nothing more than idle speculation. You've no evidence now, have you?
Objection!
Mr. LaBelle knows what this statue originally looked like. That means he had to be in the fox chamber while it was still locked tight.
Sorry, but I heard about the statue from Alderman Cuby. If you don't believe me, just ask him. Oh, but what's that? The Alderman's dead. Looks like the joke's on you, my sweaty little friend.
Hello, you mind if I wring its neck?
Wait in line, because I'm going first.
Tumpa. Anyway...
Hold it!
The only nonsense here in this court is you and your recitations.
Miss Tisk, such anger is terrible for the skin, you know. Beauty is like a flower that blooms forth from a serene heart. Excuse me? I wouldn't expect a wilted peasant like you to understand. Perhaps this fragrance will help the blossom within you bloom. You liked that, didn't you? Enough jabbering about blossoms and whatnot. Get on with your testimony before I slice you into a bouquet of cut flowers. Oh dear, please excuse me. As I was saying, the assertion of our wilted attorney here is utter nonsense.
Hold it!
You'd be arrested, wouldn't you?
Yes, it's true. I would be sacrificed upon the altar of justice, despite my innocence. But what a terrible loss that would be for the future of humankind's cosmetic needs. It is a tragedy that must be averted. Defend me if you understand this.
Silence!
The only terrible loss is the time wasted by your careless yammering. If you would avert the tragedy awaiting you in that vexing visage of yours, then...
Yes, I know. Get on with my testimony, Anyhow, suffice to say, should the mayor admit that the defense is nonsense, I will make good on my threatened.
Hold it!
And just how did you learn of this so-called truth behind Temnotaro?
Alderman Kirby told me about it. The secret in the Forbidden Chamber and the truth behind Temnotaro.
Why would he share secrets like that with you, Mr. LaBelle?
Because of the alderman's wife, I was looking after her while she was hospitalized. He appreciated it so much, he shared the secrets with me.
Wait, did he threaten the alderman in addition to the mayor?
Don't tell me that's how he learned how to open the Forbidden Chamber.
Needless to say, I'm not above revealing the truth behind Temnotaro.
Hold it!
Do not gaze upon Temnotaro. Do not tell others if you see him. Isn't that what the village superstition says? Superstitions say.
Exactly. Telling others what Temnotaro looks like would reveal the truth. That's why the superstitions were written down in the first place.
And ruin coming to the village if you free him. Is that a warning not to expose the truth?
Bingo! And that truth is, Temnotaro is a great, greed-inspiring fortune. That's what the whole battle over Ninetales Vale is all about.
Temnotaro is a great fortune. Come to think of it.
Only there's the greatest get-rich-quick chance in the universe. Grandpappy told me about it. Told me all about it. He said there's an amazing treasure in there.
Could Temnotaro actually be... Telling the villagers that Temnotaro is a terrifying yokai is what has scared them away from the Forbidden Chamber and the treasure within. That's how the treasure has been kept secret all this time.
Well. It seems our ex-attorney here has uncovered the truth that must not be revealed.
Temnotaro looks like he wants to keep the truth hidden as much as I do.
Tragedy is doomed to repeat itself as long as Temnotaro exists.
That's why the secret must be protected. As long as Temnotaro exists, huh? Mr. DeBell, please add that statement to your testimony.
Hold it!
So in other words, tragedy wouldn't occur at all if there was no Temnotaro? Yes, I suppose so, but that's wishful. This is LaBelle. Yes. You don't say. As long as Temnotaro exists, huh?
How's the mayor supposed to admit to his secret identity now?
Well, we have to find a way to make him say it or our entire case unravels. There must be a hole in the Bell's testimony somewhere.
Objection!
Mr. LaBelle, what if Temnotaro no longer existed? Revealing the truth would no longer be an issue, would it? If Temnotaro no longer existed? What on earth are you talking about? Oh, apparently you haven't heard. Temnotaro no longer exists. But I guess you didn't get to do a thorough search after the key was taken from you. Because when we searched the Forbidden Chamber, there wasn't any treasure there. Really? Well, maybe you weren't looking in the right place. Sorry, but I prove that Temnotaro no longer exists. Take a look at this figurine.
What do we have here? It looks like some sort of creature.
We found this in the Forbidden Chamber. It's an Azuki Kozo figurine. The great thief Azuki Kozo used to leave them at the scene of his crimes.
Are you suggesting that Temnotaro has been stolen?
Yep, Phineas Filch's grandfather, a master thief, was the culprit.
And by that hideous moronic caretaker's grandfather, no less. No! My beautiful golden Temnotaro was...
The greed inspired by Temnotaro can no longer bring ruin to Ninetales Vale. Isn't that right, Mayor Temna? The root of tragedy would indeed seem to be gone. In fact, I now recall the alderman revealing the secret to me on the day of our meeting. He must have been speaking of Temnotaro. Or he said to me, the gold ingot was gone. The gold ingot? You mean the treasure that is Temnotaro's true form? Recall, if you will, the scroll in the Forbidden Chamber. Temnotaro is the yellowish object shown there. A giant gold ingot that my nomadic ancestors bestowed upon Ninetales Vale. In return for that gold, my ancestors did receive from Ninetales Vale land that will become Temnotown. But drive the villagers mad with greed did that great fortune. Bitter was their greed-fueled battle. It was as if they were possessed. My ancestors' gold became a curse upon their village, a curse of ruin. Thus it was that the yokai Temnotaro came to be. So Temnotaro and the village superstitions were merely fairy tales to scare people away. Fairy tale or not, Temnotaro made quite a mess of things. Yes, indeed. For there is no greater monster than a mortal man's lust for gold.
Well, you know what they say. The love of money is the root of all evil.
My ancestors did bring a terrible thing here to Ninetails Vale. A thing so terrible that Temna Taro, a monster just as terrible, had to be created to keep it a secret. Yet we have naught but love for the village to which we owe our very existence. Temna Town would never seek to take over Ninetails Vale in a merger.
Oh my, that was quite a shocking lesson in history.
Mr. Mayor, now that we know Temna Tower no longer exists, are you ready to admit your secret? You are the amazing Ninetails, aren't you?
No, don't do it. Please, no.
Begone, you demented demon. Now, where was I? The Golden Lord of Yokai, the amazing Ninetails is, indeed, me.
And that means... Jinxie?
Yes?
The man wearing the mayor's clothes who you saw collapsed in the fox chamber, was he wearing the amazing Ninetails mask?
And that's what made me think it was Papa. He said he was going to reveal his secret identity to Alderman Kyubi that day, so it really wasn't Papa I saw there, was it?
It was Florent's idea from the start. He advised me to reveal my secret identity to the alderman.
Yeesh, no gold mine machines and less elaborate setups than the Bell scheme.
You may rest easy now, little Jinxie. That monster's deception is through.
Caw, 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 caw.
True facts behind this case have finally come to light. Mayor Temna did not kill Alderman Kyubi, but Florent the Bell did.
How dare you? Isn't? No!
Silence.
Justice, Donna. You should at least have a real blade in your hands if you desire to cross swords with me. Or have you mistaken this battlefield for a training ground?
What's this guy want now?
Evidence is like a razor-sharp blade that cuts through bone, as though it were butter. But you have only blind guesses, a dull blade incapable of cutting even a cake.
He has you there, Mr. Justice. After all, evidence is everything in a court of law.
But they're right. Let's see some evidence. Of course, a perfect being like me wouldn't leave any incriminating evidence behind. This is the final battle. Just as a samurai must live or die by the sword, you will live or die by the evidence you hold. My swift blade of judgment awaits. Now, present your conclusive evidence, or don't you have any?
Oh crud, do I have anything conclusive? Evidence? Oh, I have evidence.
You do?
Of course. It's just the conclusive evidence we need too. I'm going to finally prove Mayor Temna innocent. Here comes justice! Let's review the facts. The most damning evidence against the mayor was the crime scene itself. Mare and the victim were the only two people found in the room. Also, we all thought the alderman was killed because he was the amazing Ninetales. But as we know now, of course, we were way off. The amazing Ninetales is really Mayor Damien Temner. That's why when his daughter Jinxie saw the amazing Ninetales collapse at the scene, she mistook him for her father. Those are the facts that we have revealed. However, Mr. LaBelle asserts that he did not leave any evidence at the scene of the crime. But he didn't say anything about evidence outside the crime scene. Maybe he isn't as clever as he thinks he is. Does any of the evidence outside the crime scene provide any clues? Oh, I know, the amazing Ninetales mask. It was found washed up along the river. What sort of clue does the mask hold? And what about the hair left in the mask? Who does it belong to? Alright, that hair is Florent LaBelle's. Yes, now that's what I call conclusive evidence.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have any conclusive evidence to present to this court?
Of course I do. Observe this mask, if you will.
That mask? How is that conclusive evidence?
It's not the mask itself, but the white hair inside it. We originally thought it belonged to Alderman Rex Cuby.
Yes, but the amazing Ninetales, as we now know, is Mayor Temner, so...
That is correct. So the question is, whose hair could this be? And the answer to that is the last person to have worn it before it was discarded. That would be you, Mr. Florent LaBelle.
What are you talking about? I never had hideous white hair like that.
Silence.
It would appear your coup de grace failed to hit its mark. This freakish flop is not the white hair type. Because he's busy being one ludicrously garish colour or another.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Blackwell, it's you who has made a fatal error.
What?
Remember where the mask was found? Washed up by the side of the river. With that in mind, this last piece of evidence will solve all of the remaining riddles.
Take that!
That's... What is that?
This is Mr. LaBelle's own private brand of hair colour. It washes out with just water. The court will also recall that the amazing Ninetales mask washed up along the side of the village river with white hair inside it.
What's this? Are you saying that preening peacock's hair colour is...
That's exactly what I'm saying. Mr. LaBelle's hair colour is a freaky work of fiction. But thanks to the river flowing through Ninetales Vale, we now have a real-life exposé. The white hair in this mask is conclusive evidence proving you're the real killer. A DNA test is all we need to prove it, and we both know we'll get a match. Admit it! Florent LaBelle, you were the one who killed Alderman Rex Cuby!
You peasant! How dare you! You pervade my duty! I'm going to exterminate you! No! Under my makeup! Hello, this is LaBelle. The project is off. This is LaBelle. The sponsors have pulled out. LaBelle speaking. I'm fired. You mean I'm no longer Mayor Temna's aide? Hello, this is LaBelle. What? There's stratospheric damages claim against me? $100 million? I'm finished! Washed up! Stick a fork in me! I'm done!
This is preposterous. I, son of Blackquill, defeated.
Order! Order! Order in the court! Well, this is quite the unexpected outcome. I must hand it to you, Mr. Justice. You really turned this case on its head, just like that other lawyer, Phoenix Wright.
Wait, that was a compliment, right?
Prosecutor Blackquill, what have you done with Florent LaBelle?
The defaced man is withered like a flower without water. One of the officers is currently tending to him with a sprinkler.
Wouldn't that just wash even more of his makeup off?
Allow me to explain the actions of the guilty party in detail. The motive, of course, was to steal the gold ingot known as the Temna Tarot. However, few are allowed into the manor due to its cultural ties to Ninetails Vale. LaBelle set in motion plans to gain access to the manor and the gold within via the merger. But the efforts of the amazing Ninetails saw those plans come to a halt. And thus, LaBelle murdered the alderman and attempted to pin the blame on Mayor Temna.
I see. But what I still can't comprehend is why you would go after the gold in the first place. Mr. LaBelle doesn't look like someone who was in need of financial aid.
LaBelle hid his past well. Much like he hid his beauty with makeup, he's mired in debt. Debt due to pouring money into a brand only he could love. Which is why he sought the gold with such ferocity.
Too bad for him, someone else had gotten to it first anyway.
I see. Very well then. I believe it's time I declared a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Damien Tenma, not guilty.
Whee!
Court is adjourned.
That was some seriously good lawyering, Apollo. Even I didn't see that coming. Just got lucky, I guess. You banished Temna Terror from Ninetails Vale like you were some kind of exorcist. There's still one thing I don't understand. How come Mr. LaBelle didn't kill Mayor Temna too? He could have set it up so the mayor murdered the alderman and died from a counterattack. That would have removed at least one possible lie from the ointment. I was wondering about that too. But I have a hunch LaBelle was biding his time. He was planning on exposing the amazing Ninetails' true identity himself. Huh? But why? Because the mayor was the amazing Ninetails. Had LaBelle succeeded in framing Mayor Temna for the alderman's murder,
The wrestler's popularity would have plummeted once his identity was revealed. Oh, I get it. The Amazing Ninetales was just killed. He'd die a hero. But if he was proved a villain, his fans would abandon him, making the merger that much easier. Right. Then when the merger was complete and everything cooled down, he'd be able to search for the Forbidden Chamber at his leisure.
What an insanely intricate plot.
Caw, 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 caw. A most excellent job clearing my name. A feat worthy of the Demon Lord's approval.
Why are you acting like Temna Tower again?
Let this be of no concern to you.
How could it not concern me? Temna Tower, be gone!
Jinxie, seems like ages since I've laid eyes on you.
Papa, you're finally back.
Yes, it would seem Temna Tower is no match for you.
I'm not scared of that silly yokai anymore. Your father's a free man now, Jinxie. Isn't that great? Thank you for all you've done. Seeing you guys in action, it made me feel like I don't have to be afraid anymore.
Wait, is Jinxie actually smiling?
And this is all thanks to you two. Too bad the Amazing Ninetales will have to retire though.
Ah, how come?
Once everyone hears I'm the Amazing Ninetales, my fanbase will nosedive. After all, I'm not the most popular of people. Another reason for my secret identity. I don't see how I could possibly continue.
I think you misjudged yourself. Take a look outside.
Say, now that you mention it, what's all that noise out there?
Big crowd gathered outside the courthouse once the news broke. Seems they want to get a glimpse of Mayor Damien Tenma, the man behind the mask, and to root for your return to the wrestling ring.
Rooting for me, when I thought I was nothing more than a malefactor in their eyes.
The only one who really matters is Jinxie. Show her how cool you really are. Yeah, you're the coolest when you're out there fighting in the ring, Papa.
Jinxie,
Yeah, I think you'll be needing this.
Take that!
thank you. Now if you would excuse me. I don't want to keep my fans waiting.
Ninetales fail forever!
I sure hope they can settle the problems between Temnatown and Ninetales Vale.
Me too. I'm sure they'll be fine. After all, the blackmailer slash killer is behind bars, and the merger's no longer an issue. Plus, the Amazing Ninetales is obviously still a hit, and I suspect Ninetales Vale will be too. It's all because we believed in our client, just like you said.
Okay, people. Now that we've got that one in the bag, let's go get something to eat. I'm starving.
Sounds good. I've been so nervous. I haven't eaten since yesterday.
Better keep eating, Apollo. Or you might have to start looking up at me.
I'm definitely past my growth phase. And you should be about past yours too.
Are you kidding me? I'm just getting started. Ready or not, it's face stuffing time.
Yeah, keep eating like that and the only direction it'll grow is sideways.
Very funny. But I've got a hollow leg. I can eat as much as I want without gaining an ounce.
Really? Wow. Can't wait to see this.
Calories? Huh. Just let them try to stick on me.
Alright already, you two. Let's get going before the old man closes shop. Old Don's Noodles isn't an all-night stand, you know. I'm Mr. Wright. Let's go.
I've been waiting to have a bowl from there ever since Mr. Wright told me about them. Well, what are we waiting for?
Noodles are on me today, so I expect some serious eating from you two.
Yay. Thanks, boss. I won't let you down.
Tina has no idea what she's getting into. Mr. Eldon's noodles are so hot and salty. 2 bowls would kill a man.
That was our first case together. And it felt like nothing could bring us down after that. Dark age of the law seemed so distant, so irrelevant to our small, cozy office. But little did I know that it had been lurking all along, right there behind us. The first time it made itself known was during the murder at Thames Legal Academy. That case would mark the twilight before the dark, cold night that was to come.
Mm-hmm. That's case 2 done. Day late, but still done. Anyway, that then will be all for today. I have things I need to do. So for now, bye.